I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM players, and guess where we are, folks? No, really,
Uh,
guess. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
Our favorite place, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yep.
I needed,
Yes.
I needed to take
Favorite.
a swig on that one.
Yes. Favorite place.
Yes,
Yes.
favorite. And
Favorite.
guess what else, folks? We've been bringing whatever it is that is since 2009, apparently.
I just don't. Well, again, I'm 75. I'm almost 76. No wonder I don't remember it.
But anyway, and it's definitely not Thursday. It is sure as not 3 p.m. Eastern or Pacific. But we're here because it is AI World opening keynote. First of all, I'm so glad I got that right because I was so tempted to say Cloud World, but
Well, I mean, they change their name every 2 years. It's like it was Open World. It had a nice long run. Cloud World had what? Maybe a 4-year run at best.
I think so. Man, it wasn't
Yeah.
very long,
No,
but it
man.
was long
Cloud
enough for
World
me to
just
get used to it, and then
yeah. And then this year it's AI World.
AI
God
World.
help us. What I don't know. What maybe in 2 years it'll be data center world,
Oh my
right?
god.
Or
Well,
server world, or ecosystem world, or platform world, or something.
yeah, some world. Anyway, we're it's going to be, I think, a really interesting day because not one but two keynotes that we're going to be streaming. The first one is, I think, maybe the first time one of the new co-CEOs of Oracle is going to have the whole stage running the show for the opening keynote. Mike Cecilia,
It's got
who
to be nervous.
I would be nervous because, quite honestly, I think this is maybe one of the, if not the most significant. I was going to say probably the most significant AI world, but it's the only.
Oh, exactly.
But I'll say I think it's going to be one of the most uh, important Oracle, whatever you want to call it, worlds. Oh, StreamYard link. We'll get it to you. I thought you had it. It's the same one we always use if you do have that. Okay. By the way, I'm saying that to the one and only Brohammer, who will be joining us shortly. Yeah, and good morning, you too.
And good
Anyway,
morning, sir.
I'll send, actually, if you can send it to him while I'm setting things up, that'd be great.
I will do that.
The Cowboy said he had it, but maybe you need to send it to him just in case. But anyway, while we're doing all that, I think this may be the most significant Oracle world, whatever you want to call it, in years, because the company Oracle has become one of the most talked about, most kind of in the middle of everything company there is right now, particularly because of all the AI stuff. So I think this is going to be a really important 2 days, and I'm glad we're able to check it out. So before we get too deep into this, and we're keeping a watch on things because we know that there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's not quite at the top of the hour, which is when they start, because we have some housekeeping.
Keeping.
So
Oh, by the way, John, check LinkedIn.
check LinkedIn, Mr. Brohammer.
Mr. Evil Plans.
So before we get knee deep into whatever goes on in the next hour or so, we do have some things that we want to, let you guys know about. Because next week we are going to be on those cliffs.
Yeah, ready to jump.
Jump full bore into CCE number 15, 15 years of Constellation Connected Enterprise big event. Can you imagine? At 15 years, you've been to most
I
of
know.
them.
Yeah, I missed a couple, but I think a total of 3 actually I missed. But
Okay.
I was at the first and the second and the third. I missed last year because you and I were doing that thing at user testing.
Right.
But this is a truly amazing event. It's like the best way to put it is, it started out as a Constellation event, and that's what it was. It was an event, but now it's kind of the gathering of the intelligentsia of the B2B tech world, which doesn't necessarily say a lot, but uh, there's other intelligentsia probably significantly more have significantly more impact. But that said, this is where the minds gather, and it's a lot of fun. Ray is He just knows how to do this. And and again, talking about he's an analyst who has a huge impact on the industry. Has the mind of a I don't know what. I mean, he's got this unusual, really unusual, highly detailed, phenomenally connected brain, and it reflects itself in the conference. And if you have never been, if you've never been, I highly recommend that you come to maybe next year's, if not this year's.
I think it's all sold out for this year, by the way.
Yeah, so next year, bring your spouse if they like gorgeous places to be, because this is the Half Moon Bay, a Ritz-Carlton site that you're looking at.
Yeah, and we are going to be recording right at the edge of that cliff, so should be interesting. All right, so getting ready for the opening keynote, as I mentioned, we have it'll kick off at the top of the hour, so that's the first one, and that's with Mike Cecilia. So it's supposed to be about an hour. Then what the plan is, if we're able to pull this off, because we're also going on right now is, or about to kick off at the very same time, a little further west than we are right now, the Dreamforce opening keynote is about to take place. And we are trying something that we've never done before with PPN. So while the Venerable Paul Greenberg and I will be hosting a watch party, and we have our guests that we will be letting you know who they are in a minute. So we're doing this one from Vegas for AI World, but simultaneously going on Dreamforce watch party, a PPN watch party, but it is hosted by the co-hosts, or I guess they're like hosts, but they take turns hosting.
Right.
I don't think they want to be called hosts, but
no.
The hosts of the Crunch, Rebecca Wetterman and Dave Smith. So they are actually going on as we speak right now. So if you want to check in a little and see what's going on with that, what's going on in Dreamforce, or stick with us, because we think there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here. But what will happen after the AI World keynote is supposed to end about at 11 Pacific to Eastern, while the Dreamforce keynote is supposed to end about an hour after that. So what we're attempting to do here, it might work, might not. After that ends, we are going to go over and join the folks on the Dreamforce watch party and spend the last whatever amount of time that goes on. And then we'll have a group hug, which I know Paul will like.
That's right.
All right. So one of the folks that will be joining us, you all know him. You all love him. He is, officially John Reed. I guess that's his legal name or whatever.
His birth name. That's his birth name. At least as far as we know.
Right? That's true.
Right. As far as we know, that's his birth name.
He's the co-founder of Diginomica. I used to call him, what did I used to call him? The bad boy of ERP or something like that. I can't even remember that, because the Brohammer just took over from that. But the one and only John Reed.
There is the man.
Hey, what's
good morning, sir?
Are you ready for all this this watch party stuff, man?
Yeah, it should be good. I love birther controversies, by the way, so thanks for that.
Dude, it looks like you're outside.
Show us your birth certificate and everything will be fine.
Yeah, let's do this, man. Let's try to make sense of this one. This is going to be fun.
So, and we're waiting for the Cowboy, aka Brian Sommer, who I'm still trying to recover from some of the stories he was telling last night at dinner. But
What about the story he was telling this morning?
I don't even want to talk about the stories he was talking about.
Let's just say they had to do with mayonnaise. That's all I'll say.
My God.
It sounds even worse when I say that than it actually was.
Oh, wow.
Brutal. So anyway, we are keeping an eye out for Mr. Brian Sommer, the Cowboy, because once again, we've been doing this since 2009, but you and Brian, you guys have that chemistry, and you guys do your thing monthly. What do you call it? Enterprise what?
It's the Enterprise Month in Review.
Nice.
We pick the highs, but we also pick the lows.
How hard is it to pick the lows?
Not hard, unfortunately. The highs are the hard part sometimes.
Pick the lows, and we pick the Home Depots.
Indeed.
And I'm keeping an eye out to see if they are ready to go live on the keynote here. I'm trying to find out, why am I not adding this to the stage? There we go.
There
I
you
want
go.
to add this to the stage. Why can't I do that? What's going
I
on
don't
here?
know.
Remove that. Oh, I think I got it. It looks like they're ready. So let me see if they
Yeah.
are ready to rock.
Click
here.
on that. It says on air.
Necessarily mean they're ready.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll keep an eye out. We'll just we'll mute this. All right.
Yeah.
So
By the way, if you're a news junkie, Oracle has released news this morning. If you prefer to get the surprise of hearing it during the keynote, the incredible surprise, then you can wait for the keynote, or you can go to the Oracle newsroom, check out the news today. But just to note, they stagger the news this week.
Hey, Bob.
They stagger the news this week. So today is more the infrastructure news, and tomorrow will be more the apps news. So just so you know, that's what's going on. So we're like half NDA today. So
I think
that we're sworn to secrecy on some of the app stuff, but all the tech and database news is out now.
Okay.
And I think the actual like application keynotes are those tomorrow. Like
Steve Miranda tomorrow.
Yeah. And good morning to Mr. Bob Fagel, Mr. Mr. Boston,
and Manuel. Good to see you, and someday hopefully hear from you again. He's
giving us an applause, but we haven't really done anything yet.
Yeah, we'll awesome, take it. He's a great guy. So
awesome. All right, so before they kick off, Brohammer, what are you looking for in this opening keynote?
Well, Oracle has argued for a while that they're in a prime position to deliver the kind of enterprise AI customers really need with all of their assets around infrastructure and database. And there's so much going on. You have this TikTok stuff lingering in the background. You have a massive deal with OpenAI hanging around. There's something going on with AMD. I'm not going to say any more now. So anyway, there's a lot going on. And how do you do that, but in a way that makes customers feel like, hey, I can use this. This is going to help me. Because sometimes when you're too big and massive, then the customer doesn't know where they fit into the picture. So I think it'll be interesting to do that. And like you guys were saying, we also kind of get a leadership vibe with new CEOs. So those are the things I'm looking at.
Hey, Paul, looks like they're starting up, but you got something quick?
No, just let's start up. I'll talk throughout. Don't worry.
Look at this visual opening. I got to say, this is actually eye-pleasing.
Damn.
Can you guys hear it okay, too?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. We'll know better when we hear a voice, though.
We reduced the time almost 5 minutes per patient. We're giving you back almost 2 hours to your day. We literally had providers that were tearing up. I can be home to see my kids' games. I can be home to do homework.
We have navigated through a pandemic, a supply chain crisis across the world, trade wars, and we have even navigated real world.
This is like one of those World War II narratives.
Innovation surprises us.
This is what happens when you have paramount ownership in your family.
In-market multimodal AI that can understand videos.
Look at this.
Oracle really gave us exactly the product that we needed.
What I cannot do with
it's when you also have Jenny Lamb working on Redwood.
So close to data.
Our data is in Oracle. Our metadata is in Oracle. It's also Oracle.
Oracle infrastructure.
That music is music I used to use.
The relationship between us and
seriously, they got it from like one of those sites where you can get it. I literally used that exact lead-in.
It's kind of good to know they're not above using a free content.
No, that was you pay $108 a year for it, and then you get it, license free.
Please welcome to the stage.
They never used my playlist
of Oracle. Mike
here's the man. He's a good guy.
That is a huge stage.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. If you're watching online from somewhere else in the world, good afternoon, good evening, as the case may be. Welcome to Oracle AI World. We know that your time is incredibly valuable, and the fact that you've chosen to spend it here with us this week is much appreciated. I also know that many of you probably joined us in years past for Cloud World, or even before that, Oracle Open World. But today, we are faced with a once-in-a-generation moment where AI changes everything. And all of our collective innovations along the way serve as the foundation for our AI platform going forward. AI World is our way of bringing it all together, showcasing how Oracle, and of course all of you, are not just experiencing the era of AI, but together we're defining it. And we've made no secret about it. As AI reshapes business everywhere, Oracle stands apart as the leader. We're delivering trusted AI that's transforming organizations in every industry. AI is no longer just about changing the technology. It's not about just some new features. It's about changing how business is done everywhere. It changes how you serve your customers, how you find the best talent, how you save money, how you accelerate productivity, how you innovate, and beyond. All of us together are right at the center of this amazing revolution. Today, you're going to hear from leaders across industries that are already harnessing the power of Oracle AI to unlock the full potential of applied enterprise AI within their organizations. You're going to hear how they're changing outcomes and how they're even creating brand new ones as a result. We're not just showing up with some AI bells and whistles bolted onto old technology.
Kind of not a fair comparison there.
There's no other company that's bringing together the data, the infrastructure, the applications.
Did he even like introduce himself though?
No, he just got right to the speech.
For every business at every single layer of the tech stack.
I've done a couple of, when he was running industries, I did a couple of moderator things with him. We had conversational things with him, and Jeff Wartko was in at least one of those too. And he's a very good kind of eye-level conversationalist kind of guy. He's actually very good at that.
So you can build faster.
He gets across very succinct thinking, and he gets it across to people in a sort of calm, he's very relaxed manner.
Combining your enterprise data, both structured and unstructured.
Yeah, whereas Mark is,
well, Mark is histrionic.
The Barnum and Bailey of the industry.
Yeah.
And leverage your private data.
No one's going to ever address even approximate Mark's energy.
Internally, we use the very same platform to deliver embedded AI agents across our complete suite of applications.
You're gonna have to put an APB out for the Cowboy here.
The front office, to the back office.
I saw him this morning, and you saw him this morning, so he's somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Oh,
that is trusted to
I
train
thought I sent it to
and
him.
serve
I sent him the link in email.
than any other hyperscaler, delivering speed, security, cost effectiveness, and scale.
Oh,
now, I know that many of
you might want to try sending him against his team.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Across every part of your business.
By the way, you're going to hear private data and security a lot because they think they're better than everyone else on those topics.
Streamlining expenses, flagging
I noticed there was the keyword, and there was think.
You're getting real results.
We've already heard that.
No extra
We'll
cost
hear it again.
and no waiting.
We'll probably hear data sovereignty
Internally at
before it's
Oracle,
all
we're
said and
seeing
done
exactly
too.
the same results, and it's working.
Well, there's a whole keynote around that stuff, isn't there?
Have said that AI has
so, yeah.
already improved their work quality. In finance, our touchless expense automation and invoice management.
And we also did get a preview of this, just to let everybody else out there know. We did get a preview of this yesterday during the analyst event, so we aren't going to hear anything. I don't think really new compared to what he might be saying here on stage. I don't know. We'll see.
AI guided deal progression is accelerating cycles, boosting forecast, and raising win rates. Supply chain, real-time alerts, and accurate ETAs are keeping goods moving and cutting delays.
You know, honestly, I would love to hear a keynote that starts that's strategic.
By more than half.
I know it's Oracle and they tend to be very product centric, but
isn't just about systems and statistics.
Didn't they used to?
It's actually about
the first keynote was like on a Sunday night from Larry. Isn't that how
6 p.m.
Yeah.
And doing things.
No, it used to be. Larry was.
It's about giving
he would get a little too, you know, ones and zeros, but he would at
If
least
you're at a
start with
service
some
desk,
strategic
it
outlook
should
at
mean
the time.
resolving issues in real
Again,
time
Oracle's always
instead
sort
of
of
logging
suffered
tickets
from the,
and waiting possibly
well, let's
days
just tell you
for
about all
answers.
the amazing
If you're
stuff
a
we're going to be
finance
doing
leader,
and what our products
it
do
means
and how
spotting
well they
risk
do
and
it.
opportunities
And, they could couch it as
before they show up on the
generic
numbers.
AI, but
Seeing around corners
Well,
instead of just reporting
just going to take a
tasks. If you
minute
work
to
in HR,
introduce the one and only
supply
Brian
chain,
Sommer,
operations,
or as I like to refer
it
to him
means
as the
instant
Cowboy,
insights
Mr.
and
Sommer.
automation that let
Mr.
you
Sommer,
focus on strategy,
the
creativity,
man in the
and
mayo.
care for your people.
No, no,
And when you are the customer,
no mayo
it
talk.
means that every interaction feels personal, whether you're calling a help desk, checking into a hotel,
All right, so Brian,
or booking a car.
give us
And to
one
bring
or two
to
things you're
life,
looking
we're
for
very
in this.
shortly going to be joined by leaders in energy, travel, hospitality, and biotech.
And take
These are
yourself on mute.
industries where trust, reliability,
And don't say what
human
I just said.
connection matters most. They're going to discuss how Oracle
Any other
AI
instructions?
is
That's it.
already changing their customer interactions and even creating
I
new
don't think
outcomes
he's on mute, though.
as a result.
He doesn't
So to
look like
kick it
he's
off,
on mute.
We're going to hear from a
We can't
company
hear you,
that's powering
Brian.
Right?
millions
I'm not sure he can
of
hear
homes
us
and
either.
businesses and leading innovation
I don't
Did he
think
just
he can hear
freeze?
us.
No, he's moving.
What's
No, he's moving. I think he doesn't hear us.
Brian, nod your head if you like Oracle.
I can hear you guys.
There
Just
he- oh,
fine.
okay.
Oh, there we go.
And now, guided by insights from
Well, what are you
I'm
looking
just
for?
enjoying being the man in the middle.
nation's largest energy delivery company is further modernizing its infrastructure and accelerating towards a more affordable,
How we doing, Brian?
and sustainable energy.
Good, fine.
Exelon is driving the energy transformation by modernizing its infrastructure.
What I really want to
accelerating
hear.
the shift to clean energy and rising to meet the unprecedented power demands.
I didn't hear that anyway.
By embedding artificial intelligence and advanced data analytics,
And I tend to
across
discount it
operations,
anyway.
Exelon is building a smarter, more resilient grid to power innovation at scale.
We out of
can hear
sync. I think we're out of sync.
Please welcome to the stage
Yeah.
President and Chief Executive Officer
Somehow.
of Exelon,
One
Calvin
moment.
Butler.
Brian, oh wow, I think we're way out of sync.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Brian, raise your hand if you hear us right now.
Calvin, thanks again for being
Oh,
here. I know
okay.
you have an incredibly busy week, and you rearranged your schedule.
So this
to
is
make sure you
kind of
can be
the
here. That's really
what Safford
appreciated.
did the first
Yeah.
first keynote last year, like a
how
group
you
of
operate
conversation.
across finance, customer engagement, and actually the
I
group
have to say,
itself
it does feel like a little bit of
to kick us off, can you
a
tell
real
us what you
intro was
think
missing. Like
defines the
something set
transformation,
the stage.
and what has been the
the
enabler for
hour.
the company to make it happen?
Well, first off, let me just say good morning.
Can you hear me now?
And you know,
Yes, we
travel
can.
Logistics were a little tough, but
Can you hear us?
I
Are
think
we
it's an
all in
indication- I
sync
know
now?
it's an indication of the
Yeah, I'm there.
partnership we have with Oracle,
Okay.
which is why I'm
I think
here.
we're a
Why
little
members of
bit.
my team are in the audience. So for me, the transformation starts and ends with what are we doing for our customers? How are we
So I think
showing
we're going
up
to
for
see a
them
series of
today? And more importantly, how we're going to show up for them over the next
conversation
decade.
with CEOs or
And
executives right now.
Partnering with Oracle has allowed us.
Yeah,
to
I
really
again,
move things
I just
onto the cloud
I kind of
to a few
missed
things.
the days
I love the
where they
slogan,
actually did
"Powering
talk
your
a little
business,"
bit of the strategic
because
outlook and
that
try
is
to,
really what it's all
put
about.
a
How can we do
stamp
things more
on direction, as opposed
seamlessly,
to
removing
talk about the
costs out,
benefits of
but
what they're
delivering on
doing
higher
per se.
expectations?
Because
And that's really what it's been
the
about
thing
from
with
us since
Oracle,
day one.
and I guess this
And
is
we
what I would like to
utilize-
be
we
looking for,
partner
but
with you
don't think I'm
guys
going to
on the
hear.
finance side,
So you know how
HR
ServiceNow
side,
is pushing the idea of being
operations,
platform of
and that
platforms, and
technology
they're not pushing it
is the
hard
bedrock for where we're
overtly, but
pushing the
that's what they're
organization.
aimed at.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
Oracle's
you've
one
been
of the
certainly one
companies,
the
and maybe along with
pioneers in leading
Microsoft too, in a different way,
what I think about is
that
the,
can
is the
be
full
an
stack advantage
ecosystem of
for both of us.
ecosystems,
You know,
right?
avoiding
And in fact,
customizations,
Oracle
just really getting into
especially
the platform,
has a
and,
shot in
and
the
we
world of
certainly,
B2B at least,
appreciate that.
and to be
What's kind
that
of ironic is
ecosystem
when
of
we started that
ecosystems, and they
partnership,
have the
we
elements, and they
maybe
have the
didn't realize how
technologies, and
much
they have
energy
the partnerships,
and
and they have a
technology
lot of
were
it.
going to converge.
And I'd
I
like
mean,
to
we
hear
need a
them
little bit
in
of
one
power
way
from
or
these
the
data
other
centers, and,
talk about
you
that.
know, it's
That's
it's
what they
really
want to do, and maybe they don't want to do that, and I'm just imagining it. But they'd be stupid if they didn't want to do it, because they actually, I think, potentially could do it. And given the incredible year they just have had, they have a good shot at this, right?
Parallels are, to your
know who that
point,
is, but-
there is definitely a convergence
Is
in
that the
technology and what
Apex
we do.
handyman?
Yeah, I
We're in an
don't know.
industry
wonder if he
now
works
where we
with
will
Apex
see more
IT.
transformation
I don't know.
in
Let's
the
see if
next
Brian
10
is back.
years than we've seen over the last
Well,
100.
I see he's trying to
So
come back, but he's
Yeah,
not.
understanding that,
he
Not
was
what
out
are
of
we going
sync
to
by
do about
some
it?
time.
And
Brian, what do you think? I mean,
someone
Brian,
who
John, what do
operates
you think
one of the
about
largest and most expansive
like when you have the
brands
opening
in
keynote?
the country
Do you have
can't keep
expectations
running
for
the
like
same play.
that's the
And the
that's the time to
technology
set the
being
stage
placed on
for
our
what we're
system
about to see and
is an
kind of
opportunity,
get
but also
everything lined up
challenge.
and then go
So
into
one of
this
the
kind of
things as a
thing?
CEO that I think about more than most is security.
Yeah, I
Every
mean,
time you
look,
add a
there's
piece
no
of
one right
technology
way
on
to
the
do
system,
this,
you
but
expose
what
yourself
I
to a level
generally
of
like
risk.
is sort of
So that's
welcoming
one.
people in
Partnering with you and
and a little bit
technology
of
in
like
general to say,
state of the
what
world,
are we
like
doing to make it
here's
more
what we're dealing
efficient,
with
make
on
it
the
faster, make it
outside,
better, but
here's what's
minimizing
going
risk. So that's
on,
one. I would also
and
say the
here's how
second
we're
piece
trying to,
is going back
in a
to that
big picture
customer
way, help you to
centricity.
contend with that.
How is
And then in the next few
technology
days,
helping us
here's the
serve our
different pieces of
customers
how we're going to
differently
do that.
in the future?
So it's kind of
You
getting you
can't just
ready for
invest
what
in
you're
technology's sake
about to
because you can
see.
appreciate as a
I sort
utility,
of like a framing like that,
I have to
but
justify
you
every
know, in this
dollar
case, we're
spent.
sort of just diving
And
in,
therefore, I'm always
and
talking about the
you
value
know, hopefully
add
the
to
attendees
my
understand a little
commissioners.
bit,
So
you know, the
what
context of all of
we
that. But I
need
prefer
from
to
an Oracle and our
back up
partners is saying,
and assume
this
that
is the
people aren't
value
quite
driven
as alert. But
proposition
I tend to
of
assume
when
they're
you
kind of
talk
heads
about
down on their projects.
costly upgrades
Amen
are being
there.
eliminated.
Yeah.
When you talk about seamless transition to data
Yeah.
is key for us.
I mean,
Creating
some
a
of
data
the
strategy
folks on
where we
this
can
little
serve them
panel, we
differently
don't
is going
really
to be
need that
critical for us.
because
No.
It's
we've
amazing.
been, you know,
bring
we've
up so
had
many
all of that, and
parallels
we've
there,
had a
to be
bunch of
honest.
stuff
Every time we add,
yesterday as well.
we add components to
But the average customer, maybe
our
not.
grid,
You
if
know?
you will, our data center.
I mean, there's been a lot of the last
what's
couple of weeks that
security of
Oracle
business as
has
well.
been
But along the
involved
way,
in,
we've
and
learned so
it
much
feels
from
like there
you
was an opportunity to
and your
kind of
peers in your industry about how to
put
operate
all that in
24/7.
context into what's going to happen and what's going
Services,
to be
mission critical
discussed
services. I mean, the
over the
days of
next couple of
on-premises
days here.
software.
I just feel like that
We
would
were
have
a
been a
distributor. We
nice way
distributed
to
software,
get
and many
from where they
times
are
somebody
now
else
from the beginning of this
implementing that.
thing.
We have a relationship with
Well,
our
and also to
customers
the
as a
earlier
custodian of
point,
these systems,
you know,
whether
this
or
is
not we're
Mike
involved in the
Cecilia's
implementation or
first
not. It's a
conversation with
24/7
a large
mission-critical,
global audience
can't
as
fail,
CEO, and he needs to put a, you
and I
know,
want to thank you
he,
because
let's say
we've
this,
learned. I
and I
think
hate to put it in these terms exactly, but he
being a
needs to mark his
technology provider to
territory,
your industry for so many years,
right?
even
So,
pre-cloud, pre-AI,
and he's,
has really taught us so many lessons about
this
how to
doesn't mark
operate
his territory.
at
This
scale.
just, I mean, it's
And
not that he's
One of the
doing a
things that's
terrible
key for
job or
us
anything,
is that
No.
but
utilizing
he's
technology where
doing
we're
fine.
taking the
But
industry.
I think
You
the
know,
direction
I'll
of
share
the
with you where Exelon is as
keynote
far as its
needs to be
operations.
much
We are so
bigger
proud that
picture
we
than
are
this is.
the leading organization in the industry in terms of
I
reliability
mean, these
and
things can come
resiliency,
later.
but we have to get better.
Yeah, this is. I
Because
think
as
it's
more of
probably
us
one
are
of his
working from
biggest
home, more of us are
live
utilizing
audiences since he's
technology
become
and educating our
co-CEO.
children. All
And I know he
technology is
seems like a really good,
so
not like
important
down to
where
earth
our
He
customers
is.
have less
person,
patience
but he's still
when you
gotta.
go
I
down.
think gotta
And I
say, hey,
think, you know,
I'm Mike
what you're dealing
Cecilia,
with
and
the technology as well.
I am the
So when I talk
co-CEO of
about
Oracle, and
24/7 operations,
let her
that's
rip. But
critical for us.
maybe
And
that's
your
just our
technology is
personalities versus
embedding
his.
that because the data analytics and what we're
Again,
going to
he's a
use
very good
is going to help me
conversationalist.
get to
I'll tell you that.
24/7
When he's
blue sky days.
at the level he's at
how does
right
that change your
now,
relationship with customers, both
eye to eye,
consumers and businesses? One that goes beyond, an interaction with the utility when the lights go out, when there's outages. How does that transform the relationship?
How we communicate to them is critical. So imagine on a blue sky day, you get home and the lights have been flickering. It's nothing more frustrating. But if I can do preventive maintenance on the system, communicate with my customers early, and let them know what's going on, they can plan for it. When I can tell my customers after any storm, you'll be up within 12 hours because I know what it takes, that's the investment in the system. When my customers call, utilizing the data that we've received from them and understand why they're calling, and service them better without them ever having to do anything except for dialing our phone number is critical. That's the relationship and how it's changing.
I have to say, as a customer in one of your service areas,
Thank you.
Your communications around outages, which are infrequent, by the way,
Yeah.
but usually storm-related, are incredibly accurate. And it's always great to get the text and get the restoration time and know that maybe there's a little bit of Oracle tech behind that as well. So
it's a lot of Oracle
appreciate
tech
that.
behind
we
that.
appreciate that partnership. Now, you said, thinking now in the future, you've said before that you see AI as an enabler, a way to help employees and customers alike both be more efficient and informed. As you look ahead, Where do you think the investments are in AI, and how is that going to play out in helping you achieve that mission?
Yeah. So you can appreciate in the utility industry, we're not the leaders in deploying AI technology.
So, Paul, can you hear me?
All the other things that we're dealing with, but we should not be the
So you
laggards.
asked earlier what I
would
wanted
tell
to
you
hear.
that I
Here we
see
go.
AI implementation around our customer
I just
area
finished
more
a
than
call
anything else.
with
We're
a client
utilizing it. We're
who's
utilizing it now within
struggling
our
with,
finance,
they've got
our
a
legal, and our regulatory
25-year-old
matters, but where we'll have the
ERP
biggest
system,
benefit is in the customer segment. And most people
a
think
lot
that
of the people
AI
there
from a
want to
standpoint of it's gonna
upgrade
cost
to
you to
the new
lose jobs,
version
but
from
if
the
we think of
vendor
deploying
because
that
they think
technology in
it's
that
going
way,
to be
we're
a
going to miss
slam
the whole
dunk
opportunity.
easy
It is
thing
really
that can
going to
get
be
knocked
around,
out in just a
one,
few weeks.
how we capture that data and
They're not
utilize
even
it to the
thinking
benefit of our
about
customers
all the new
ultimately, to
advanced
drive
capabilities,
communication
how they
outages,
can move away
to
from
drive
paper
interactions, in addition to driving how
They're
we
just
invest
thinking
in our
about,
grid.
they're
That's really
thinking
going to
in
be
a
a
really
mover for us.
limited way.
You know,
What I
of
would
all the
want
industries we
the
serve, I mean,
CEO of
your industry's
any
up there
ERP
with
vendor
banking
to
and
do
healthcare
is
as
come
probably
out
some of
with
the most
guns
regulated
blazing
industries. How
and
are the
telling
regulations, how's it
the
going with AI in
customers
general
as
in
well
terms
as the
of
prospects in
consumer
the
rollout
audience
versus grid
what the
rollout for AI?
future
What are the
looks
hurdles? What are the
like
things that we need to think
and
about
how
practically?
and why they
That's a
need
great
to be
question. It
thinking
would not
about
surprise
that
anyone in
today,
here that regulators
regardless of
aren't
what
the early adopters.
incumbent software they
And
have. They need to
they
talk about what
struggle
that
with new
looks like
technology
and get
because they
everybody on
want it
board
to
with
be
the vision.
proven, but you can't prove it
Taking a bunch of
until you
bows
invest in it.
about
And I'm
how
going to be
great your own
hesitant to
technology
invest
is
until I
doesn't
know I can
really
recoup those
do the
costs.
job.
So
Yes,
what
sir.
we've done with
We
them,
need the
you'll
vision
see a lot
story.
of utilities
Amen.
talking about we're running a
Big
pilot,
time amen
we're
on that
running
one.
this so we can show the value. And I think
And it's
that
not like Oracle
prevents
doesn't
the
have
early adoption
vision.
of
They
certain
do.
things.
And
But
they've
having
actually,
said that,
in
when
recent
you
years,
look at
actually
drone technology, the capturing the data,
strengthened
putting
that
it
part
into
of
the
their
database, that's been
direction.
helpful.
But
When you talk about predictive analytics, that's been helpful. When you show
again,
them
this isn't a Mike
the
Cecilia thing, though.
value,
This
they
is
get
a
it, but it is a slow
Oracle,
walk. And regulators at the
communications
state,
thing, I
local,
guess. I
and
mean,
federal level
people
are
who
just
wrote a
hesitant.
speech,
Would you
the
say
direction that
collectively it's
somebody
incumbent upon
decided
us
they needed to
sort of
present,
educate folks on the power, the art of the possible, right? They may not understand
I
what's really possible.
when
Here. We
Mike
talked about
was
some of the
named
stuff at the edge, not
co-CEO, I didn't
necessarily
know
in
anything
the
about
mission-critical
Clay at the
pieces.
time,
Is
but
that the best
when
place to
Mike was
start with
named
AI?
co-CEO,
It's
I was
very
actually
important,
I was
yes,
surprised, to be
because, and
perfectly
I will
honest.
tell you,
But
those in this
at the same
room
time, I
have a
liked that
much
choice
greater
because I had
voice in this
the interactions
discussion
I
than us.
had with him were always
Because
so
as a
good, and he was
utility,
very,
you can
very
appreciate
bright
they're going to say
guy,
you're
and he actually
self-serving.
has vision.
But
He had it for
when the
industries. He really had
regulators
a.
want
He
the
was.
same
If you
level of
watch
service
some
that
of
they
this
receive from
stuff
other
I do
industries,
with him,
and you
a
can
couple of years
demonstrate and
now,
communicate
the
to them
vision's
what you
clear
can
in the
do,
conversation.
that's where it's most effective.
Now, ultimately, your mission is about people.
Yes.
Well, you know,
It's
Paul,
ways in
you
the
can't
field,
spell the
customers
word
at home,
Brian without
communities
the
you
letters
serve.
AI.
As technology
Anyway.
evolves, and we go through these
Timon, you're
regulatory
not
processes
what?
together.
You're like
What do you think the biggest
you're not a
impact from, let's say,
you're not
AI-related
a
technology is going
agentic
to be to
AI
strengthen that mission going
like
forward?
It's
thing, are you?
always about the people and the
You're
communities
real,
that we
aren't you?
serve. And if you don't lose
Hey,
sight of that,
you know,
that's where we going back to your
maybe
question earlier, where
I just
technology is that enabler.
there were so
So
many
for
things that
us, it's
Oracle was leading the news with,
ensuring that we do a business
from the
case for every
TikTok stuff,
investment we make.
from
How
the
are we
stuff
demonstrating
they're
that
doing on
business
the
case was actually met?
Stargate
Briefly
project,
partnering on our
from
customer
that
program.
their latest
And the
earnings,
challenge
which
is
I've
that
never seen a
how do I
company at
take
50
my
years old,
employees that have
40
been
years
working with
public,
in the company for
go
30
up
to 40 years
30% in one day
to
because of what they
utilize
were
that
doing.
new technology? And let me give you an
It
example.
feels like
I was out in
there
the
should have
field the
been
other day with some
something as
crew
this
members.
opening keynote to
The
kind of
gentlemen have been working with the company for
address
40
some
years,
of that
and now
stuff.
they're out there with an iPad.
I could be
And
wrong,
I
but
asked them, how was that
I
transition
keep
for
going
you?
back to
He said,
the
it was tough.
thing we
We
were
had
talking
to
about
do
all
it
year long.
because now
Just
on
one more
that
thing.
particular substation,
One more
you've got
thing.
all this equipment
We've been
capturing
going on
data,
this whole year
and
talking about the
we
importance of
retrained
these
and
opening
retooled them.
keynotes
And that's where I say
and
it's
being
about
able
the
to
people.
for companies to take
Because
full
I can
advantage of
have
these
all
huge
this
audiences.
technology, but if they don't know how to use it,
It
then our
feels a little
facilities
bit
are
like
just done.
It's
there's a little something
fantastic
that could have
point.
been added to this
You have,
before digging
particularly in
into these
industries that are
conversations. That's all I was going to say.
Yep.
I think we all went the old Apple commercial where they where the woman comes running into the room full of drones and throwing the anvil or the hammer, whatever, and shattering the big, wall of monitors.
AI is that the rate of change
The 1984 commercial.
Functionality. The rate of
Yep.
change is faster than we've ever seen.
You know, basically
So
say
you can get to a
the
point
past is the past. Let's
where
get
you get
on
a
with the new
foundational
day in
level
front of
of
us
how to
now.
use the
What is that
device.
new future?
But then we hope that these systems become so intuitive, so easy
You remember,
to use,
what was
that we
it,
can
2 years
completely
ago when Larry
eliminate
did that,
the need
his
for
speech,
training.
and he was
I mean, do you share
the one that
do you
we,
share the belief? Do you
I
think
will
we can
constantly
get there
refer
for
to,
certain roles in the
uh,
field, or do you think we're going to be in a situation
but
where the training is just
I
here to stay, and we're going
remember
to have to
Larry
continue to
talking
invest
about
in
the
it?
stuff they were
I would
doing in
tell you,
healthcare and
as someone who
agriculture, and
starts and
he was
finishes
kind
with
of
the
very
safety of our
casual, and he was
employees,
kind of sitting on a
I'm going to
chair and
always
kind of talking to
involve
the
some
audience.
level of
That was
training
the best
because
keynote
when
I
we're
think I've
dealing with
ever seen at Oracle.
electricity and gas,
And, you know,
that
and I've
is
seen a
something
lot
that
and a
is
lot,
so important.
you know,
But
you see
what
like 6, 7
AI and
keynotes
technology
every
will
time you come
do,
to one. So,
it's
but
your
because it
first check,
was
your second check,
visionary, it
and your
was
third check.
practical at the
That's what
same time. It
technology
was visionary,
enables.
meaning
And that's
here's
how
the
I
things we
saw the
actually
men
are
using
doing.
that out in the
It
field
was
that day,
things that
is
supported
that
something
they
beyond
thought they were
just
seeing something,
what's the
and
technology
technology
like,
was
you
confirming
know,
us
just
saying,
so
no,
much
you're
better.
off. That's the
And I know they're
important part.
trying to do
But
that
the training is going to
here
be
with
critical
how
because
this
it's life or
helps,
death.
you
And
know,
I never want
the
that
company,
phone
but
call of
it's
saying
how
we
it helps
lost
the
someone
company.
or someone got seriously injured because something failed.
Well, I think it goes to the point that you made
It's
earlier
also, I guess, they
about
have so many keynotes,
not
they have
worrying
to
about
carve out
new
what are they going to
systems
talk
replacing
about,
people, but
what are they going to
actually
feature in each of these
making their
keynotes.
jobs safer,
And I'm
making them more
guessing
secure, and making them better. It's
Larry's
See,
keynote is
another
going to have a
example,
lot of
remember when
meat
smart
to it,
meters were coming out?
which
Everyone was like, what are we
maybe
going to do with meter
doesn't
readers?
allow
That
this
job
to
was an
have some of
entry-level
that
job. We
content
retrained
involved
all
in
those
it.
meter readers, and
Well,
those
he
individuals are
was
now
head of
doing jobs
industries
within the
and
organization
was
that they
seeing
had no idea
customers
how to
I'm
do
sure
it.
he
But
worked with over
technology
several
was the
years.
enabler for that, and that's how I see us using it.
Yeah. Well, it's a terrific story, and your vision around how AI can assist, I think, is spot on. We look forward to continued partnership. Thank you very much for the investment. Thank you for coming here today and making all the sacrifices you made in your schedule. We very much
Thank you for the partnership.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cal.
Give him a hug.
Thank you so much.
Damn.
Yeah, one of the
Come
things
on,
that stood
Mike.
out during the summit yesterday is how many of these big partners
So
are
next, we're going
investing
to talk with
billions
an
of dollars
innovator
into their Oracle
who's
AI.
running one of the most complex data and pricing systems in all of global transportation. Let's learn some more.
Avis understands that after a long flight, travelers want every next step to feel effortless. That's why they've always invested in technologies to deliver solutions to get on the road even faster. More than 50 years ago, Avis pioneered the car rental industry's first computer-based reservation system, a milestone that set the tone for everything that followed. Today, that same spirit of innovation drives their work in AI, with the goal of creating streamlined, intuitive experiences from pickup to drop-off. Please join me in welcoming Executive Vice President and Chief Digital and Innovation Officer at Avis Budget Group, Ravi Simplebhai.
He had a 9-word title.
Out there. Thank you for being here, Robbie. Thank you very much. So, Avis is known for optimizing every part of the customer and employee experience, from fleet management.
Roughly how long was that first customer conversation? About 10, 12 minutes?
Yeah, but at least.
What are some of the business goals that you're pursuing with AI, and how is it actually transforming your organization?
Right. So, at Avis, at the Avis Budget Group, well, first of all, thank you for having me here. But in our company, we have 3 major pillars that we're very laser focused on. The first is customer. That includes customer acquisition and customer experience. The second is vehicle. That includes buying and selling of vehicles.
So this is a little bit similar to the Southward Cats keynote to the past, then, right?
People who are our greatest asset. And so as we
Maybe they didn't have enough time to like really kind of cater a little bit more to Mike. Just kind of leave it the same format.
We have to look at technology
Could
as
be.
the bedrock of
It
everything
was
that we do
recent.
going forward.
Yeah.
So when we look at how we manage our business, we have a strat plan that extends into end of 2027. And we have very clear measurements and metrics and KPIs on what kind of revenue, what kind of EBITDA, margin, customer experience scores. And all of these come together in our performance and how we manage our performance throughout the company. And technology, especially with the advent of AI, is now
Yeah.
playing a very, I would say, a very deep.
Bob is
and
keeping us a little up to date with what's going on
Now,
with
speaking of your transformation in AI,
resource.
you were
Watch
one of
out
the
for
very
Agent
first
Force Vive.
customers
Oh yeah.
to go live on the Oracle AI
Jump on
database.
it.
Why did you start there, and what was the problem you were trying to solve?
Well, okay, why we started this rather simple. We were on a highly deprecated version of Oracle, and to get support, we had to jump. And so we decided, hey, if you're going to jump, we might as well jump to the latest and greatest that's out there, where Oracle is investing in. And the more I heard about 23AI and its capabilities, well, the initial capabilities, but the roadmap of capabilities that extend over the years, I discussed this with my team, and we thought it would be the best option for us to go jump right into it and be with Oracle as they're building out this product. The capabilities that you espouse are the ones that we will be using intensively at Avis to drive our business. So I'm very hopeful that they'll come out soon. We've already migrated a bunch of our data across to OCI and 23AI and OCI.
I don't know if you noticed, but the subtitles are coming up before he says what he
So
says.
speaking of your team, I'm curious.
Yeah,
with
that
the Oracle AI
we noticed that
database
the other. I
and the
think at
fact that you
Sweet
can
World, it was doing
use
the
natural
exact same
language
thing.
prompts versus just
It's
as
not
well
actually
to get insights
good.
into things like price.
Wonder what kind of delay they have
competition,
on
operations.
the
How
video.
does that change the way your teams work today, both your commercial teams, your IT teams, your operations teams? What's different about using natural language versus traditional query mechanisms?
All right, well, I've been in this business for 37 years. I don't look it, but the world has changed. We used to talk about, and Mike, you would have heard about this statement, data is the new oil. It is actually the new oil, and AI is the enabler of that oil to come to life. I imagine a world for my company, for everyone at Avis, to become problem solvers, not information gatherers, problem solvers, using these tools, asking a question in natural language, and having your curiosity served by the engine is what we need. Think about the world today of analytics, where the vast majority of people are using some sort of dashboard or the other. And a term that you would all be aware of or familiar with is slice and dice. You guys remember that? You tap on something, you click on one link, and you go to another link. And by the time you get insights from the data so you can actually take action, there's quite a big lag there. But imagine if you were able to ask the engine the question where you're trying to get to in the first place, the answer you're trying to get to, without having to go through the rigmarole of trying to read through the entire process. And to me, that's the power. And I want to give this capability to our entire company in their divisions, whether it's commercial, whether it's operational, of course, technology, so they can run their business in a far more efficient manner.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. I mean, does this free up your IT team for different types of work? And are you going to allow the commercial teams to directly query using natural language into these systems?
Yeah, absolutely. Today's technology team needs to enable our entire business. My team, and I'm really proud of them, they're the epicenter of driving the growth and the modernization of our business. Our job is to enable everyone and get out of the way. And that's what, so I see our roles, migrating away from who we are today.
Boy,
to becoming
that is actually
business advisors.
Nice to hear, like enable everyone to get out of the way. I remember go all the way back when just even blogs was like poisonous to companies. The idea of a blog was poisonous company, and legal departments had to pre-approve blog posts, and now it's enable everyone and get out of the way.
Where are you leading in first? What advice would you have, and what kinds of results do you expect to see as deploying those AI agents?
All right, well, first of all, a tip of my hat to Mark Hura and Jody Clayton for actually enabling all this for us. So thank you. I would say it's everywhere, but so we're trying to contain ourselves because the opportunity is so immense. So the areas I'll kind of focus on are procurement. We have a brand new leadership in the company that's driving procurement transformation. And then that runs across fleet, supply chain, parts, what have you. It's a huge function that we haven't paid much attention in the past. But now we have the platform, we have Oracle Fusion. And then you have the AI agents on the other side that have been built specifically to drive these processes into becoming far more efficient. it behooves us to dive into that. So making procurement more efficient. On the field, we have our field agents, I would say actually technicians, who need to order parts in real time. I don't want them to have to think about which part to order for which car, and at the best price. They just need to ask for the part, and the engine needs to decide at that point in time what is the best part for them to have. So that's huge, for them. It drives efficiency on the one hand, gets our car back into the mix for rental, and it also saves costs on the backside of the equation. So really happy about that. Data quality is huge. Today, my team, just because of the legacy,
it's actually a very compelling
inherited, we used to spend an inordinate amount of time cleansing data that traversed between systems, which for smart technology people is a very mundane, boring, and just a bad task. But we are using Oracle technology to actually automate the data cleansing and the data quality so we can focus on bigger, better things. So I can say, there's a tremendous push across the organization, and there are a plethora of examples that I can talk to.
You spoke a bit earlier, again, about not just the quantitative impact, but the qualitative impact on the business as well in terms of time and decision quality. How do you, and we're hearing that in lots
I like
of
a good behoove.
It's not just about
What's wrong with behoove?
less expensive, but actually qualitative. How do you?
I don't know, plethora. He threw that one out too.
Qualitative impact of AI, and how does that differ from measuring traditional ROI on a project?
That's a great question. Well, business goals and metrics and KPIs will always remain the same. Today, AI is the.
That's a great question.
That's a great question. Almost always is the precedent before a pre-written scripted answer.
What matters most is how are we driving our business? Are we growing market share? Are we growing revenue? Are we growing margin, EBITDA? Is our customer experience getting better?
Well, that's pretty much the same as ever.
Measurements that we make today. How AI plays into this, in my opinion, is our decision-making timeline from the time we observe that something needs to get done.
That's some interesting comments going on there in the comments.
In front of our customers, in front of
yeah, it's getting a little pithy over there.
What AI does for organizations is it gives back the most important commodity that we have no control over: time. Imagine it's something that took you.
In fact, I think those comments behoove a response from us.
My God. It's not about golf.
Well, there's been a plethora of comments.
I really believe that that's how we're going to measure this, how quickly we're out to market, and how quickly we're able to.
Yeah, I think
who is Hefe today?
I have no idea. I don't even know who LinkedIn user is.
In the near term or even far term horizons, how does it change the role for your IT team? Do you
think that's
your
who?
IT team is becoming?
He's referring to Brian, I believe.
Yeah, but who's LinkedIn user?
Oh, I think it's this gentleman by the name of Jerry Ward.
Okay.
ApexHandyman.pro.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jerry. Now there's a name.
The very legacy way of doing things, legacy processes.
Oh, I think he knows what a plethora is.
So we've got everything
in fact, I just used it too. So.
I had one, but I went to the dermatologist.
Is to enable
because it behooved you to go. So
again, we're our biggest asset. And yesterday I said it in a forum too. For me, AI does not stand for artificial intelligence. It stands for augmenting individuals. Our job as leaders is to
there's the quote of the day.
And I see,
I like it.
For us,
augmenting individuals.
What my team has done, the magic they've delivered over the last few years.
But that's in line with the kind of things I wish Oracle would say. Again, they said it a couple of years ago and last year, how AI works for them.
When we were talking earlier, you made it a point to talk
Looks like
about
we're going to have a fight.
The partnership, the importance of the Oracle team and the Avis team coming together. And I think some of the things that you said.
Steve Gilmore trying to call me in the middle of two watch parties going on.
Share, just how's the partnership going?
Wait, now we have a LinkedIn user that says, "Hi, fellas." That can't possibly be Jerry Ward because he doesn't need to say it again unless he's responding to the fact we now know his name.
Which
is probably the case. I wish I didn't have to go to directly to LinkedIn to find out who's saying what.
I would say from the Oracle team, I think I see Mark Hura.
Yeah, it was him, by the way.
Sharjit in the back. You know, Nat, Ryan, Tejas, Jody. There's so many names that I can speak about. But a fantastic cohesion of strength from Oracle.
All right, this is a general question to you guys.
My team, and I see them right
During
there.
a keynote,
Please don't try and hire
how
them. I
long
need them.
should a typical
But they give us the permission
conversation
to be here.
with a customer
They're
last?
fantastic. So between these two teams,
Well, these are longer than I would like, but this one happens to be particularly useful.
It's a trick question, Brent, because it depends on the caliber of the discussion entirely. This one is strong enough that it can go a little bit long, but the longer it goes, the higher the expectation is. That's why you're still on stage.
It's hard to figure out on any given day who works for Oracle and who works for Avis, and it almost doesn't matter because everybody is so mutually invested.
If I'm not mistaken, last year she did about 5 or 6 of them in the opening.
To partner with you, and I want to thank you very much.
Jerry, honestly, we know the definition of plethora. You don't have to overdo it.
In such a huge way, and I really appreciate what you said about success. You know, not just
time to change it to cornucopia.
And all of that, of course,
the more positive version.
Just a super.
I'm probably not going to show the LinkedIn, the YouTube link in the comment either.
No,
I'm not going to.
But all of us are in. Thanks for this great partnership, and we appreciate your investment. Thank you very much, Ravi.
Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Very worthwhile. Good one. I mean, the value of the things obviously is there's an actual
now we're going to be joined
use
by
of this.
Another iconic brand. It's reimagining hospitality, and they're using AI to empower employees.
I guess when you're doing these back to back to back to back,
let's see what they're up to.
When you
got to be kind of careful of the time.
It's 9,000 plus properties around the world. You feel at home. And the world's largest hospitality company is just as welcoming of next generation technology, designed to make guest experiences more satisfying and comfortable. Over the past year, Marriott has been investing in advanced AI tools across.
Marriott invested in every technology known to man over the years.
These efforts are focused on.
They're in an arms race with Hilton.
Supporting associates and ensuring.
Well, I remember in the 90s, their investments in PeopleSoft and everything else. I used to deal with them at that level. I knew a VP over there that I would brief their people on CRM, and there's a whole thing.
Operations and services of Marriott, Ty Breland.
He's got a fan club, it sounds like.
Thanks for being here, Ty. I saw some of the smoke come out. I thought maybe Def Leppard was coming on with you. There's nothing there, but well, again, thanks again for spending your time here with this week. I know you're quite busy, and we appreciate you coming here to tell the Marriott story because I think it's a terrific one.
That's great to be here.
You've got a huge workforce, massive amount of associates worldwide, most of them in customer-facing roles. So how do you think about AI, you think about the approach, how do you approach that to both empower your employees and enhance the guest experience at the same time?
Yeah, so at Marriott, we have 800,000 people at 9,000 properties in 143 countries. And we've been guided by our core values for nearly a century. And at the heart of those core values is really putting people first. So as we started to deploy AI, we started there. How can we best help our people? And that's kind of guided us through this journey. Really looking at what matters most. How can we help our associates? Take the friction out, create capacity for them so they can better serve our guests, but really starting with the people. At the end of the day, if we really get this right, AI isn't replacing the human touch. It's bringing the human forward.
Well, speaking of people, you've got a three-part decision lens that you look at. It's associates, customers, guests, and owners, all three of which are people organizations. How do you, again, maybe expanding on the first question, how does AI support all three groups at once? Because all three are very important constituents for your business.
Yeah, so at Marriott, a lot of people don't know, but of those 9,000 properties I mentioned, we only own a handful of them. The vast majority are owned by REITs or individuals.
Anybody want to take that one?
Huge and very important part of the
not in any detail. Google and Apple are in different worlds.
Or trying to look at an
They're just different style. Everything is different about them.
We look at it through the lens of our guests.
there's a major difference because Apple and Google are talking to consumer markets. It's an entirely different process.
Yep.
One of the biggest differences that consumer markets tend to chase sex appeal and instant gratification, whereas B2B markets tend to be much more about trust and establishing credibility. And so it's a whole different goal. So the entertainment expectations on an Apple or Google Keynote are incredibly higher. Now that's not to say that you don't want your B2B Keynote to be engaging and entertaining, but it's a little bit different because you're trying to give people the information they need to be successful.
Look, I mean, if you take it at the fundamental level of an individual watching a keynote, let's say, we know this, we've had the B2C world, the B2B world, but the one thing we've all been saying for years, at the end of every B is ultimately a C, meaning there's an individual who is watching something who at some level or another is a consumer to begin with and actually takes in signals that way too. So to your point, John, there is necessary entertainment. There should be necessary entertainment value. We've seen Adobe kind of flirt with that up and down, but even them, Adobe Max is approaching a B2C audience. Adobe CX is approaching B2B audience, and Adobe's history has been to split them very distinctly, when in fact it's basically one big long conference, in terms of the way they should be approaching it. So there is that. It is important to keep engagement levels high, but what the signals are for that are very different.
You'll notice when you check in, there's a lot of key punching going on as someone's
because I mean, after an Apple or Google event, they want people to go buy store and buy something. That's totally a different mentality. By the way, I think it's really interesting how the Marriott customer here really started by saying, "This is the kind of AI that we want." We want to help humans do their job better and all of that. But I think what's interesting about that is that Marriott's presented it like that's the only way to do AI, but it's not. They need to kind of say, this is our values and our choice, because there's a lot of folks that are using AI for ruthless efficiency plays, and they're going to try to get all the headcount they can get. And the idea that everyone's using AI the way Marriott isn't right. They should be stepping out and saying, we want to treat our people a certain way, and this is what we're doing. This is what separates our brand.
And to your point, that's how Oracle should have established from and it goes to Brian, it's an element of your idea on vision too, which is Oracle established that from the second Mike walked out on the stage, that AI from our standpoint is to augment and support, and that's why we're giving it away for free, and that's why we see it as an extension of the work you do, which they've said in the past, but you need to, that needs to be stamped deep into the earth of Oracle.
And we were very purposeful about having
that hasn't been, but luckily the customers are at least bringing it up, which means that's also the way that they're, the way they're getting it, and the way they're using it.
Well, I think the customers, that's because that's what their customers want. They want not the replacement, but the enhancement kind of story. And so even though Oracle hasn't said it, I'm surprised they kind of haven't. Particularly, maybe they'll wrap up with that, because if their customers are telling that story, and then they could wrap the bow around it and say, by the way, they're all doing this without any additional charge, then they're already paying for the platform. That would be a really great way to do it.
Enrich your role, what would it be?
I absolutely agree. Maybe even Larry will bring it up. Who knows?
It became contagious. They really
I like this conversation. It doesn't feel as scripted as some of the other. Not that the other ones felt scripted, but this really feels more organic, I think.
People want to serve others, and so they want to take that time.
Well, they're picking. It's kind of interesting if you think about the customers that, especially the latter two, that they've actually pick. Well, actually, all three. The appeal is how will what they as customers do? How will what they as a company do with AI help their individual customers in every single case? Help you with your outages, help you if there's an outage, or when you're renting a car, or when you're staying at these are all like the two, especially the latter two, are very right-brained industries. Well, they're both kind of hospitality and travel, really.
The comment Marriott just made was strong. They said, instead of trying to do more with less with AI, we're trying to do less and have more impact.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's like that's a goal. That's not something that just happens because you implement this technology. It doesn't just magically happen. That's the whole point. You have to push for that and want that.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to always remember those individuals that know most about the job.
Do you think companies go into it with the more cost reduction, efficiency play, eventually will grow into that being able to do more with more kind of thing?
To be honest, no. Because I think if you go in that mentality, you're going to come out with that mentality.
Amen.
I think because it's not technology specific. They were approaching other forms of automation with the same way. Like, now, having said that, a company like Marriott that wants to have impact with AI might start with more of an efficiency play, but it's a very conscious choice at that point to free up some resources and to prove that you can get some results. And then, so if you have a conscious framing around that, then yes, you can start with efficiency. But I have no confidence that a company that starts with headcount and efficiency can ever turn it around.
Absolutely agree. 1,000% agree with
you. So, but what percentage of those companies actually go into it with beyond that cost efficiency play? That'd be kind of a small percentage, right?
Well, that's what we're going to find out, Brad. I mean, I don't have a study handy on that. Surveys pending.
The CEC's Center
I would agree it's a minority. And look, I mean, in the end, it's not a duality, right? It's a continuum. So you land somewhere on that continuum. But I would tend to agree that it's probably more of a minority. But still, what you hope for if you're someone like me is that the companies can embrace that, outperform the markets, and show that it's a better approach. So that's what you hope.
So that's a spot that we're using it right now as it relates to the bond.
I mean, that goes to your the point that actually was sort of we were conversationally having at a different level last night, which was ultimately it's based on the values of the company that actually looking at it to begin with, right? And it goes to the point you made earlier about it too.
There's a lot of things that take place at a hotel.
So I think you guys have strangely come around to something that's missing in a lot of these keynotes and messaging. AI is not a single one-dimensional thing, and its impact on companies is not going to be one-dimensional either. I don't think it's an either-or deal, that it's an efficiency play or whatever. I think we need to be looking more broadly as to what are the experiential impacts of AI across all the different constituents who are going to be touched, impacted, whatever, by these tools. I would agree that an overly focused discussion just around labor saving or job elimination is depressing as hell to listen to, and not exactly filling my heart full of warm, fuzzy sentiments. But I think it's multifaceted, and I think all speakers, whether they're vendors or customers, should be encouraged to talk about the totality of the experiential benefits, not just dwell on one.
There's a lot of negativity, some negativity around AI is going to take all these things away from everybody, but actually this is a terrific example of giving human beings more time to focus on the things that matter, and that's your guest.
We talk about it as an investment in our associates. Yeah. So we see AI as an investment, whether it's the training and how to write prompts and leverage it, but also freeing up that capacity so you can do what you really love and taking care of our guests. That's how we're talking about AI inside of Marriott, and that's how we want to continue to fuel that as a superpower for our associates as opposed to something we're doing to them.
Well, it's terrific. I mean,
That's a great way to frame it.
Spot on. We certainly share.
Well, I want AI to fix the check-in process at Vegas hotels. If Marriott can spearhead that and make that available to other, the Vegas properties, we will see massive improvements in hotel guest satisfaction.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another good one. They've made good choices today on that one.
Okay. Our final
I don't know, Brian. Standing in a nice long hotel line gives you a lot of opportunity to think about AI.
We're going to talk about using AI not to just transform.
Brohammer, if that's what you think about when you have some time, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, man. That's the beauty of AI, man. It gives you a lot to think about when you're waiting in processes that AI should have fixed.
Forefront of developing AI that makes our
plethora
world
of thoughts
a
go
healthier
through
and more
your head.
sustainable place.
Well, yeah, I'm
The
having a
startup is helping
plethora moment,
researchers
I gotta
identify
say.
antibiotic-resistant bacteria, develop next-generation drugs, innovate methods to enhance crop yields, and explore solutions to environmental
Are you having a
threats.
plethora moment? Try new Pletherex. Pharmaceutical from
technologies power BioFi's mission to serve
Don't
industries
take
as diverse as
Pletherex if you're
agriculture,
allergic to
life
Pletherex.
sciences, and law.
Pletherex.
BioFi
That'd be great.
empowers genetic
Pletherex.
engineers, bioinformatic
I wouldn't mind a
researchers,
different
and
AI
business
voice
leaders
for some of
to
these.
solve challenges in producing abundant food
Could have
and effective drugs.
Can you imagine Samuel L. Jackson doing a voiceover for one of these things?
protein powder for horses. Behoo.
Executive Officer and co-founder of BioFi Technologies, Paulo Perez.
Thank you so much. Paulo, thank you so much for traveling all the way from Brazil to be here with us today. Your story is, I've had the chance to
one good thing about Mike, you really feel like he is interested, knows.
Well, he is. That's the thing. Again, that's
really
just
good.
Incredible use of AI, but maybe for those that aren't.
The thing about him is I'm using this word positively, which I normally don't. He's sincere.
Everyone is talking about AI related to, save costs, sometimes to change the way that we work and etc. But we can truly believe that we can use AI to develop tools or to develop.
I'm not putting that comment on.
And contribute to the environment and to human life, saving lives.
That's unbelievable. You're using AI and using the Oracle database to fight antibiotic resistance. I mean, it's not something we hear every day. So what does that really mean in practice for both hospitals and patients? How does it work?
Yeah. First, let me explain a bit about the solution and how it works. So when we have a bacteria, we have an infection, we take a sample of the blood or anything else, and we use DNA sequence process to extract the DNA of the bacteria. It's a huge string with thousands or millions of elements, and we created a function that transformed it in a vector. So we created a huge vector database with more than 700,000 of bacteria DNAs. For each new test, we use vector search to identify the bacteria and its resistance to the antibiotics, and we do it in just 4 hours. The traditional test needs 5 days. So reducing the time from 5 days to just 4 hours. In terms of the hospital and the patients, it's a totally new approach, because to know exactly the best treatment in short time can really save the life of the patient.
I mean, it's just amazing when you think about what is the Oracle database, vector search, vectorizing data and vector search have to deal with saving lives. It turns out, when combined with your technology, actually quite a lot. And I had an experience with a family member. It was exactly that. 5 days to grow something out into a petri dish to figure out the right antibiotic. And in the meantime, I'm not a doctor, so let's take this as not medical advice, but we overprescribe lots of very wide spectrum, heavy duty antibiotics that actually might be completely unnecessary, which we know aren't necessarily beneficial either. So, I mean, it's just it's just a dramatic switch. And I know in Brazil, you've already seen the solution dramatically reduce mortality rates, dramatically reduce death rates from resistant infections. What's it been like to be at the bedside to see this actually happen?
Wow.
Yeah. So it's sad, but in Brazil, traditionally, the hospitals, the mortality rate during bacterial infections is close to 70%. It's a huge number. So using our solution, we reduced it to 50%, and we truly believe that we can go further, maybe less than it, maybe 30% or less. So only this year, I'm talking about 2025, we are expecting to save 2,000 lives, only in Brazil, only in the hospitals that we are working now.
You're going to go from 70% resistant antibiotics down to 30%. And is that a factor of the time? In other words, the longer something goes on untreated, obviously, the worse the outcome may possibly be. So you're going to take something that's usually 5 days, figure out the right antibiotic, takes 5 days down to an hour or 2, start treatment right away.
Yeah. This is the most important thing, to know exactly what kind of bacteria you have and the best treatment change the game. And by the way, we are creating a huge bacteria DNA database. And of course that...
yeah, I think this database and the system just continues to get smarter over time, right? The more samples you have, the more opportunities you have to train, and it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy that this whole system gets better. You spoke earlier, I want to go back to something you said about vectors and the importance of vectors and how you're using the Oracle AI database for this vector search. Why was that the breakthrough, and what were the options previously before you used the Oracle AI database vector search?
The traditional test, as I told, it consumes 5 days. It's a long time. And there is another problem. The other problem is that bacteria are evolving, are having mutations. And identify it is too hard. But using the vector, this is the beautiful of the solution. It's not necessary to have the same original bacteria DNA. We can perform the vector search and identify the close one, the mutation, and know exactly the mutation of the bacteria, and again, know the best treatment for that.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And as you said, you're building this database. It's going to have an inferencing-like impact in that you want to get close enough to the strain to realize what's the right antibiotic to prescribe. As this database gets bigger, and as you have more inferencing cases associated with it, how do you see that opening doors? What should we be excited about for what are possibly entirely new medical breakthroughs?
This is my dream. Let me explain why. With this database that we have and we are growing it, we started to research the use of AI to develop new antibiotics against the superbacteria. So now it's possible to use AI to create new drugs and test it in silico instead to test in humans and etc. And we are reducing the time, the necessary time, from 10 years to just 3 years. So I fully believe that between 3 and 5 years at most, we will have new antibiotics to work against or to fight against these superbacteria. And I have a dream, Mike, that I want to share to you.
Please.
My dream, and my dream for everyone that is seeing us now, is that in 5 years, the people will no longer die due to bacteria infections.
Well, that would be...
Thank you.
Yeah. That would be amazing. I mean, you spoke about something here I think that's incredibly important in the healthcare and life sciences industry, the connection from the bedside to clinical research. And how do we take real world data from the bedside how do we turn these global databases into wonderful tools for clinical research? So I want to replay what you said just to make sure I got it right. Right now, you take a sample, we find out the right antibiotic very, very quickly. We still have a certain percentage, maybe 30%, as you roll this, like maybe we get down to 30% of bacteria that are still resistant. They're super bacteria. They're resistant to any antibiotic that's on the market today. Likely to turn, likely for somebody to turn septic or pass away as a result. But you think as a result of this database, paired with the life sciences industry, paired with molecular discovery, drug discovery, genomics, it all comes together, we can actually create new precision medicines for that particular patient, for that particular strain, even if, I want to make sure this is true because this is absolutely fascinating. Even if it's the only strain, the only time we've ever seen that strain, the first time we've ever seen that strain.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just incredible, incredibly inspiring.
And there is something that I really want to say to you. This is one very important reason that we are together with you, with Oracle, because we have the same purpose. I really know that Oracle takes care of health, and by the way, your team is amazing. They are together with us, helping us to create this kind of solution.
Well, we appreciate it. I have to admit, I think when we created the vector database, we didn't think about that use case, but you really have taken this thing to somewhere that's just so, clinical research.
That customer is insanely likable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Molecular discovery.
And they're working on
Insanely
something
likable.
everybody can understand.
Oh yeah. No, to the credit of this speech, I mean, of the keynote,
at an incredible pace because you've done
the
all this
customer
in the last couple
choices are
years. All this has
fantastic.
happened. You saved 2,000 lives just in the last couple of years with this vector technology, vectorizing this technology. So if you can do that much that quickly, as we look at the next 3 to 5 years, specifically, where do you think AI will have the biggest impact?
And I'm guessing they're ending with health because that's their real specialty.
First, as we told, to discover new drugs, to have best treatment, and etc. But there is something so new that we started to work. By the way, one of the hospitals that are working with us is here with us. I'm so proud of that. And, it's a real...
Wish healthcare in the U.S. wasn't such a mess right now, but that's a whole other conversation.
Together with us. And with this hospital...
But this is a great customer, though. This is really good.
Yeah. Very relatable, too, and how he's...
Every last one of them. It's amazing. It is
there is a totally new
one of the best choices of groups of customers I've ever seen.
Do you know something about that?
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. And this vector database deal, I'm sitting here thinking about how dramatic innovations will be for some companies, but some of the problems they're going to solve. For example, I'm heavily involved in the American chestnut restoration effort, and the biggest problem has been they can't tell which genetic material of the surviving trees is actually what you want to propagate. And the fact that it takes 15 years to get viable seeds coming out of another generation of trees, it's a problem. It takes forever to figure out, like by trial and error, which combination of things is going to work. They're gene splicing too. This vector database deal could go right down the line and apply vector factors either against the genome or some other criteria, and then give you a much better trajectory on what's going to likely succeed. You could apply what this guy's talking about to all kinds of diseases, not just to human beings, but to plants, to animals, and so forth.
Yep.
We can detect and predict someone who may advance to a certain form.
It's such a radical, different way of approaching everything from immunizations and the like, which those things have worked, but they've always had limitations because resistant things will pop up in nature, and this kind of changes the clock and the approach on this stuff.
The ability to vectorize this data and to very quickly compare it against massive global data sets is what makes all this possible. Yes. Well, if that's not a story for AI being our data rather being the fuel for AI, I'm not sure what is. And I certainly thank you.
A good wrap up. I hope he gives us a good wrap up of all this and kind of ties it all together. All these conversations.
I'm wondering, Larry's going to ask these guys to help him find what is it, the fountain of youth? That's something I think he'd be very interested in. Powered by the Oracle Vector Database, of course,
and by the companies that produce black T-shirts.
All right, so that was a series of 5 really interesting conversations. I want to see how he wraps it all up.
Okay. So what a story. Everything you've heard today shows what's possible when AI is built in and not bolted in. And of course, none of it would be possible without all of you. You push us to keep innovating, to solve the hardest problems, and to make AI practical and trusted at enterprise scale. So as you explore the next couple of days at AI World, I would encourage you to learn from your peers, meet with our teams, meet with the Oracle teams, and see for yourself what Oracle AI can do for you. I'd like to thank you for challenging us, thank you for trusting us, and thank you for always inspiring us. With all of you and Oracle AI, there really are no limits as to what we can achieve together. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So guys, there's a thing called Houdini's Law in technology. And it basically says we use a new technology to do what we always did, just a bit more efficiently and effective. Then we use that to start to change the second phase is then we realize we can apply it in other areas. And then the third thing says, then that gives us ideas about how we can radically change and do all new kinds of things. And that resets the cycle again. So what I think we just saw was the end of the old transaction processing days. We're seeing this new awakening on how you could use like the vector database to do something wild and mind-blowing and like identifying and figuring out better drugs for prescriptive purposes, and possibly to even figure out who's going to react the best or worst to certain kinds of medications and capabilities. And then what that does is I think it's going to challenge Oracle and their leadership to figure out what do you focus on in the future, because you got a transaction story you still are going to need to be telling probably for the next 50 years. You've got some new use cases which were tangential to the old stuff. And then you're going to have this radically new set of things, capabilities coming out. I mean, just think about what it won't be the Oracle AI world. It'll be, in 5 years, it could be multiple shows. And one of them is just all about medicine, if you will, exactly. A direction I saw coming. Okay. Enough of my 2 cents.
Brohammer.
Well, look, I mean, I like setting a nice tone that you're relevant to your customers, and I think the stories and interviews set a strong tone for the conference. Now, other customers have to figure out how they can get on that path. And so hopefully, what we hear next kind of gives you some idea. Like, I would like to be there too. I would like to get those kinds of results. How do I do that? What does that look like for me? That's, to me, the overarching goal of the conference. As we discussed, it would have been nice to get a little more big picture framing from Oracle on the narrative on all of this. But still, you had a good start here, but now we got to drive it home. So it's just the first opening keynote. There's a long way to go. We got some road miles still to cover, guys, before we get to pack
miles to go before we sleep.
Indeed. Of course, we got the big one coming up later on, but the venerable Paul Greenberg, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that was fascinating to me was each customer had actually not only a really valid use case, but it's a case. It was not just, okay, this is in theory what we can do with it. They're doing it with Oracle AI. And the theme that ran throughout all of it was, it's not, to Brian's point, on the one hand, there was vision in the customer way of looking at things. On the other hand, it was, we augment what our people are doing. And it was interesting that each of them, one way or the other, pushed that idea. The general point still remains, I still would like to see an opening keynote talking to the bigger picture, at least somewhat. And also, Mike, to your other point, was introduce yourself, dude. I mean, you know, you're an important person in the future of Oracle. You know, I wonder about how well co-CEOs actually work as an idea, because they typically, you know, the other company have failed miserably. But you know, but in fact, they usually pick the wrong one, right? So when it became one CEO, but you know, but here, different world. So on the whole, it was actually good, but it wasn't what I would want exactly, I guess. But at the same time, I am energized by the fact that I'm really hearing stories of use in multiple ways that bode well for the future of at least Oracle AI. I can't speak to AI in general there.
I'll pick at what you just said, Paul, because you're vulnerable. You're the vulnerable Paul Greenberg.
That's okay.
You made the
canola oil.
It's venerable, not vulnerable.
He knows that.
Potato.
He likes picking at me writing books. He likes picking at everything. So I remember.
You just said a moment ago, you reiterated this point about how AI is supposed to be, what was the word? It's supposed to augment people. Well, that was maybe the story from the Marriott deal, but not all these stories were the same. And that last one from BioFi, that was beyond augmentation. That was taking something in a completely unforeseen direction. Even, you know, the new co-CEO admitted that they never had thought of that. And that shows you that there is the spectrum of change that's possible out there when you roll these out. It's kind of like that's the end state of Fubini's deal, which will trigger another round of innovations beyond that. I thought you got a cross section of the capabilities of where the future is going to lie. And I think they could have done a little more setup to kind of help the audience mentally lock in and remember that we're going to see multiple different directional things that AI is going to bring in there. And that would have been the kind of narration, I think, that a good CEO would have led with, you know, and carried throughout. And it's still a very good show. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I heard your augment point, and my hair stood up on the back of my neck, and I had to react to that.
Well,
anyway.
Shave your hair then. She didn't say anything I could possibly disagree with, and I wouldn't change a word I said based on what you just said. So,
by the way, Prometheus.
Wow, that's kind of a huge compliment. Huge compliment to John, man. That's Prometheus.
It's like a nickname on a nickname.
I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say, but I can sort of reconcile these two viewpoints though, because I think
not really two viewpoints. That's okay.
Well, right. I mean, but the point being like that. When you're obsessed with efficiency and headcount reduction, you miss both those opportunities. You miss the chance to augment, and you miss the chance to boldly go into new areas. You miss both. So that's the whole point. Is you got to move beyond that in order to get to the good stuff. And the whole point of freeing humans up to do cool stuff is to get to those out of the box ideas. And by the way, a big theme here is customers using these tools, getting familiar with them, and then really riffing on those use cases. And that's something that Miranda talks about a lot. I don't want to take his thunder from tomorrow because that's NDA land, but he talks a lot about some of the initial use cases being more modest, but the important point being get familiar with these tools, how they work, and then really take them to the next level inside your organization. And so if you can do that, then you have a good show and you have a good conference, and you try to ignore the fact that AI is being used in all kinds of terrible, shitty ways to make our lives miserable outside of the show.
Yeah. I just say, I was thinking back to my first one or two of these when it was open world, I guess. And the opening keynotes were more, bits and bytes related and more bare metal related and database, of course.
Iron Man.
Yeah, I forgot.
Right, that's right.
But then you think about what we just what we just saw in the opening keynote of an Oracle event. It was really good stories being told and conversations being had, and it was not about bits and bytes. It wasn't even about ruthless efficiency. These folks were sharing how they're looking at AI as not only enhancing their customers, but enhancing the experience their employees have, and really talking about using it to do things that they weren't able to do, which is a really great transformation of the Oracle opening keynotes, to me at least, because I'm not a propeller head to it. I shouldn't say that, but I'm not one that's really deeply rooted into the bits and bytes. But these stories were right on time, and to see Oracle, maybe possibly do the co-CEO ship of Mike, they're putting that stuff front and center now, and how AI is actually a tool not just for ruthless efficiency, but almost endless possibilities to helping the employees reach these things and do these things. So at a high level, I really thought this was a great opening, but I still want the framing and to be able to take all the things that Oracle has been in the headlines for over the last couple. I think that should have been addressed in the opening keynote. Now, I might get addressed in some of the other things. I'm guessing Larry is going to address some of this stuff. But I think you need to do some of that in the opening keynote, and then wash down to some of the conversations. And then he did a good wrap up. But I think all in all, really good, but some things could have been tightened up a bit. Okay. Definitely looking forward to what Larry does and all the other things. I'm sure there's going to be some things that were left out here that are definitely going to be filled in and enhanced conversation in some of these other keynotes, but that's what I was thinking. All right. So I'm looking over and they're still going. Mark Benioff is still doing his thing. So
there's a lot of agents to talk about, Brent.
Matter of fact, it says build your agentic enterprise today. That's what we're up to now.
Yep. A lot of construction in progress. So expect delays, like they say.
Site under construction.
By the way, I'm launching a campaign in Massachusetts to change our state slogan to expect delays because of the construction that we have all over the state. So I love that.
The state tagline.
All right.
Massachusetts, expect delays. Anyhow, I got to run. I got stuff going on in the show floor.
Okay, you do that. By the way, we will be back. Oh, man, I hate when this happens. We will be back at 1:30.
Catch you later.
Because Larry is going to be doing his keynote, and hopefully those guys will be able to join us. So we will see you 1:30 Pacific. Remember, we're all on PT time here. So with the big keynote from Larry. And some of us might actually try to catch the end of the watch party going on and hear what the folks have to say about what they witnessed and heard on that. So I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
On behalf of the Brohammer and the Cowboy, we'll see you later.